I'm Amit, and I lead AIML sales for software companies in UK and Ireland. What does that mean? I sell more of Bedrock, sell more of Kiro, sell more of Quick. But essentially, we help customers to kind of build solutions on GenAI on AWS. But before any of that, I am I'm a technologist at heart, and I really I really love kind of solving those difficult challenges. And GenAI is really, and Agentic AI is really kind of helping that and making that happen very, 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 very swiftly. In the room, how many of you have used ChatGPT in the last 24 hours? Raise of hands. Interesting. Yeah, I'll talk about it shortly. Yeah. How many of you have built agents in the last month? Wow. I am excited. This is going to be an interesting talk then, definitely. So yeah, the world is moving to more agentic, and 2026 has been especially the year where things have started changing. So it all started back in 2023, late 2023, with AI as more as a chatbot. Like you would ask a question, you would get a response back, and that's it. Like, okay, I'll do with the information I've got, I'll probably do something about it. Things started changing 2024, 2025 when AI would start acting more as your companion. Probably, yeah, you can ask it, ask some questions. It might do some research. It might come back to you with more details. But it's more than just a chatbot. But the real inflection point is which is happening right now, and we are living it, which is in 2026 when you can probably give a complex task to a system of agents, and I'm specifically using system of agents, which can understand from that, break that complex task into smaller tasks, spun up, phone a friend, which are other smaller agents which it can call. They can go and do their own research and can come back and give you a full answer to your question, or maybe solve that complex problem. And let me take an example. It might be as simple as book me a holiday to Spain with a budget of $1,000 for 3 people. Now, when you run this prompt, if you see there are multiple complex things happening there. It needs to understand where am I, which is coming from my profile. But apart from that, it needs to understand, yes, I need to probably book flights, I need to book hotel, I need to probably plan itinerary, and I have a budget of $1,000. So it breaks that into multiple smaller sections. There's an orchestrator agent, which is going to break down into smaller sections. Spun up different agents, call its friend to say, okay, hotel agent, can you look for hotels for this dates for 3 people, and similarly for flights, and get all those results back, evaluate the cost, say, oh no, this is higher, or this is too low. Do I need to do this whole process again? It might do that few times before it comes back with a result for you. So you see, it is a lot more complex tasks which are being handled with AI, GenAI now, as compared to what's the weather in London today. So so that's where we are moving. And now taking it to further, we are calling this more like an orchestra, where you have the orchestrator agent sitting in the center, really kind of making the world move around it. You speak to that orchestrator agent, and everything around it is managed and controlled by it. That's where we are going. Any thoughts, any questions? Do you see the same? Do you see something different?
Where do you find companies are in this adoption?
It varies. So I work with ISVs. ISVs are kind of really building this because their customers are asking for it, which are enterprises. We work with enterprises as well. My colleagues work with enterprises. In this room, we have a few of my colleagues. Companies are starting to think, they have use cases identified. They are learning how to build, and like it's happening right now. And I'll talk about a few examples as we go through.
Do you see this as killing off applications? For example, Slack or Outlook does email. It receives email, it handles email, it sends email. Do you see a computer, someone saying, computer sends messages to threads, I don't care how, and the need for Slack or Outlook or similar disappears?
Ooh, that's a $1 billion question. If you have heard Satya Nadella's podcast a couple of months back, I think it was back in November, where he didn't say these words, but he meant that SaaS is dying. And I'm sure if you invest in stock market, the last month's IT stocks going down, a big reason for that was exactly that. So yes, the industry is changing. Those various applications that we currently use today might not be how the future is going to look like. It will definitely be different, and that's why. And a lot of that is being driven by AI agents, and that's why this talk is very, very kind of valid for today. And we must all be building agents, which I asked earlier. Good. How many of you have heard about OpenClaw, Modbot, CloudBot? There were a lot of issues around CloudBot as well, because that sounds familiar to certain models, right? Anybody tried it? Anybody build anything around it? Nice. I would love to definitely talk to you after this. Like, what did you build? Yeah. So this was an open source agent which appeared out of nowhere in December 2025. But it really took off in January 2026, which was just a couple of months back, more like a personal assistant. And let me show you, when I say it took off, what does that really mean? That's the number of stars on GitHub for that particular repository. I just checked before the talk. It was 286,000 stars on this within like last 2 months. So AI agents, you could spin up this on your AWS environment, on your cloud environment, and this could essentially read your emails, respond to it, which is pretty straightforward, respond to your WhatsApp messages, summarize everything. Now let me show you what one of our people like us in the US did with us. He was in the market to buy a car. It went to this OpenClaw and said, this is the car which I'm trying to look, probably it was a Mitsubishi car, and his wife wanted a green car, Mitsubishi. He put in those constraints on OpenClaw. OpenClaw went to Reddit and scraped all the data to find out what is the lowest price people have paid for that car. Once it had that data, it started looking on Mitsubishi website for all the dealers in the vicinity who had that car. So it started looking through the stock. The dealers who had those cars, then OpenClaw started sending emails to them saying, I am interested in this car. What offer would you price me? Give it to me. I do not want finance. I want an early delivery with all those constraints which you could set in. It had access to Gmail. So it could send the emails, receive the emails, and read through the emails. And subsequently, it started negotiating on the offer. I'll show you what the results of this. So give me a sec. Sorry, I'm jumping a few slides. I can share the link to this blog, but this is the blog which talks about this in details. And this chap managed to get the car at this price, which was lowest across the US, which was a $4,000 lower, $4,200 lower than what this person found even on Reddit. Again, all automated, all running through this AI chatbot, this AI agent, which is sending emails, negotiating on your behalf, and getting you exactly what you need. So this is where we are moving to. I would want to know, what did you build with OpenClaw? Did you manage to get $4,200 off your products? Okay. Possibly. But having said that, I've read blogs where people had big issues with OpenClaw as well. There was some senior AI consultant at a Fortune 500 company, and they gave access to the emails on their inbox, on their Outlook, after a lot of testing. Yeah, Even then, OpenClaw started deleting emails after a certain day, after a few days. Now, this person could not control it, and they lost a lot of emails. So they can be like, you have to set the right guardrails before you let it really go. Good. The next, what I want to talk about here is specifically how the agentic AI is transforming the finance. I have some of my customers who work in the finance domain, in the banking domain. They essentially provide software to the banks and to the finance industry. And when I work with them, they are building agents which could regularly monitor stream of transactions which are coming through, understand exceptions through that, which is not new. It has been happening for quite some time. But once it understands an exception, understands there's something not right about that transaction, it can call multiple systems, get data from it, analyze it, build a case, and then present to a human to say, this looks not right because of these 20 reasons. So that analysis, which could have probably taken 5 days, is now happening in 5 minutes. That's the power of AI agents. It's all happening while like we are sleeping. I've been working with another company which does reconciliation of financial data of all the transactions, and for them, they went even a step ahead. Once they've identified a transaction which is not valid, they would trigger an MCP request. MCP is like you are exposing the APIs towards the external world, and these MCP requests are going towards the third-party systems to say your system has probably this problem with the data. So you are not waiting for that handshake to happen for weeks. It is happening within seconds. So that's going beyond your own boundaries. Again, it is not something which is yet into production, but we are getting there with this company. I work with one of the payment companies in the UK, and for them, every merchant onboarding which would be delayed would cost them a few millions. And why was that merchant onboarding getting delayed? Because maybe there are certain particulars about the merchant which are not correct. Somebody manually is going to analyze it. Somebody is going to kind of look on the web to see whether the details are correct, and then kind of manually approve or kind of raise it with the merchant. In this case, this AI agent does this all on its own, and the cases where it is not able to match and it feels that there is some problem, only those cases get popped up to an agent to really act on it. They have been able to kind of improve the acceleration by 99.8%, which is saving them millions again. All this is happening as we discuss. Any questions? Anyone wants to share any ideas or anything that you have been seeing in the financial world?
You've mentioned some of the use cases are on the road from dev to production. In your experience, out of all of these use cases, how many of them actually made to production, and what are the barriers?
That's a big question. Lot of barriers before it can get into production. I talked about something. It can start deleting data. It can start generating data hallucinations. So there are a lot of testing that has to go through. Guardrails have to be set up accurately before you can say, yes, I let this really go loose. We can talk about it more as we go through.
Okay.
Yep.
I wanted to just ask a question. I think most that you were saying that normally when you have, let's say for example, issues with the details of the merchants, okay, or any other like retailers or whatever the case, then in that case, don't you think that the actual LLM is going to be, it might try to hallucinate sometimes?
Yeah.
So
Definitely, those are the kind of issues which we need to handle before we can take this into production. And we do work with the customers on those. So definitely, it's not something you just build it overnight and no, yeah. So we can talk about it more. Okay. AI agents can go and shop for us. Who has used AI agents and bought products using AI agents? Anybody uses Perplexity? Perplexity Pro? Perplexity Pro released this a few months back. So you can just browse on you can go and say, okay, I want to buy, let's use the car example. I want to buy a Mitsubishi. It can do all the searching in the background, and you can just click buy from there. Again, they need to have the relationship with the merchants that they are selling, but you can buy from there, and it kind of it processes the transaction, and you get the device. You get the stuff. So AI is now going to refine how we shop. So yeah, that's the perplexity example. It does the research. It recommends you based upon your prior history with Perplexity, and then searches buys the whole thing for you. Yeah.
Lots of companies currently have the portal, like even Amazon is a portal. Google sells ads. If AI agents are doing all the API calls and presenting you the results, isn't that killing off a lot of them?
That's a $1 trillion question. We are going up in value. It is getting, so that's why the retail industry is going through a massive change right now. For them, it's not only serving the humans now, it is even how they serve the AI agents which come to buy the product for you. So that, yeah.
The companies that rely on this for a living, like Google, for example, are they not going to try to stop this in some way?
Google is anyways not going to live, right? So Amazon is there. No, but having said that, the industry is changing. So that's why serving ads through these interfaces, which could be Perplexity or through wherever these AI agents are going to kind of live, that is also becoming important, which was never the case probably 6 months back.
So we can ruin Bezos, right?
Let's talk about it. Yes. Yeah.
Why does Amazon block most of the agents? Like if you go to Amazon.com.
We need to go to basis, right? So yeah, exactly. So that's an Amazon strategies. Unfortunately, I do not hold that pay grade to answer that question. Good. We spoke about buying cars and getting discounts. Very important. Yeah. To touch base on Amazon. So we have agents working on Amazon.com as well, Amazon.co.uk, whatever you use. We have released something called Rofus, if you've used it. In the US, not in the UK because of the regulations, but in the US, you can chat and ask questions anywhere across the world, but using Rofus, you can even buy. Now that's where processing of the payments, even when it's recommending the products to you, it is looking through all the features, it is looking at your preferences. All these are agents working in the background to bring up those results to you. And then in the US, when you say click, buy, there's again a payment agent working in the background to put it in your basket and making that buy. All this is happening on Amazon as well, to your point. So we spoke about a lot of things happening in the industry. We are moving away from reactive to proactive. Essentially, we would probably wait for prices to come down. Now, Rofus can kind of already analyze when the prices comes down and makes the purchase for you. That's like moving away from reactive to proactive. We are moving away from like single agent asking questions coming back to multi-agent system. Every agent very, very specialized to do one small task, but now you have millions of those. That's where we're moving to. We spoke about doing a single task to workflow level. So now the automation is not about just doing that small task. It's about the entire workflow, which is getting automated with AI. But definitely with human governance in place, that is very, very critical. We talked about it. We can have like complex issues if that's not the case. But getting a bit technical, how do the LLMs in 2026 or how do the AI agents in 2026 really work? I got this from LinkedIn, and I'm happy to share the source. But in the old world, you would give an input, LLM might use a tool. Now, tool could be a web search, tool could be going and kind of searching for flights or making a purchase, and it'll give you an output. But now, it is a lot more. You You give an input, a complex task to the LLM. It uses tools. It has memory, which is from your past experiences. It goes and decides whether it has achieved the task, iterates, decides, are we there? Yes, no, iterates again before it goes back to the output. And the example which you spoke about, book me a flight, a holiday to Spain for 3 people and $1,000, that's a perfect example. You could have flights which are like $900 in the first search, and the hotel which is $200, $300. That doesn't satisfy the criteria of $1,000 trip. It is going to reiterate again. So that's where the LLMs and the new AI agents are coming in. And all these tool use might call MCP servers, might be calling smaller agents which you are building or your suppliers or your customers are building. That's the ecosystem, how it is growing. So there's going to be a planning module, there's going to be a reasoning module, tool access, MCP servers, which I spoke about, and then finally execution layer, which could be making the purchase or which could be generating a dashboard, whatever it is, and then eventually making the final click to say buy or it's fine, which is the human checkpoint. That's how the agents are functioning in 2026 and beyond. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. Sorry?
Beyond, we'll see. But we'll see exactly.
Yeah. Oh, we know the future. Anyways, what's in for you? How many fresh grads here? And more people who are technical, like who are deep into coding? A lot of them. And business leaders and taking decisions on a daily basis? Superb. I think there's action for all of you. Recent grads, please make sure that you get your hands dirty, understand how these agents are behaving, what are they automating, how you are going to coordinate the work with that orchestrator agent. That's really, really critical, because code can be written by the AI now. It's about how do you manage and orchestrate that coding tool to write the code which is relevant for your business. That's critical. Technical professionals, I think you all know this fairly well, that the shift is happening, the shift has happened, and it's about moving up the ladder to say, okay, I need to be able to manage that AI well. I need to understand what guardrails are relevant for my business. Human in the loop is very, very critical, and you need to define those boundaries and not let the AI really kind of go loose. For business leaders, very critical. If AI is not part of your company, it's getting difficult to survive. But you need to understand which part of the businesses need AI right now. How are you going to imbibe the AI as part of your business, whether it's productivity tooling, whether it's customer-facing tooling, it's your back-end, back office productivity. All those need to be analyzed and kind of make sure that AI is getting into those aspects. So essentially, to conclude, it's not about if on AI agents, it is about when. And it is already happening, most of it. We talked about AI agents being able to do shopping for you, able to negotiate for you, able to go and kind of look at your profile and recommend holidays for you, book holidays for you. All that is happening right now. And the inflection point is now. So something which internet took probably 20 years to really penetrate and get everybody excited, AI agents have done within 21. So that's the acceleration that we are seeing. So it's time for all of us to really take actions. And please think about which is the process that you do on a daily basis. Can that be automated now? Just think about it. Maybe you want to do something within next quarter or so. And at AWS, whether you are an enterprise or an individual, we are there to support you to build and experiment with Agentic AI. So I'll close with this interesting quote from Jensen, that we are now building our digital colleagues. That's how we are seeing this. That's the change that is happening now. So with that, thank you. Happy to take some questions, but I hope this was gave you an insight what's coming. Thank you.